these bananas, they were green 2 days ago. And that one has lasted even longer. But you look at them now, they look as if they're on the turn. I honestly feel like food shopping, well, it's changed so much lately, it really has. You seem to spend more than ever. Everything's gone up. Yet somehow they don't seem to last as long. Is that just me? Or what do you think? You buy something and it would just last. And I find myself noticing all these little changes. Fruit seems to go off really quick. The sell-by date on these was today, the 18th, and yet they're going off. It baffles me. And somehow, you know, you go in for something simple and you end up paying £50 just for something small. So, because of this, I thought we'd just have a chat at the kitchen table about this, about what's happening. Because I can't be the only one that's noticing all this. I've actually started buying bananas green, and the reason why I buy them green is because they last longer. And when I say green, I mean really, really green. Like I've just showed you the ones earlier. I mean, this one was very green, but it's not too bad now, and it's not going black. And I got that one from Sainsbury's, and yet I got these on Saturday from Morrison's, and look how they've gone. It's as if they skip the middle stage. Now, I just don't know what happens, and I honestly wonder. I wonder sometimes if supermarkets keep them very cold, keep them somewhere out the way, somewhere along the chain that they're keeping them, because they look fine in the shops, and by the time you've got them home, well, they change. They suddenly change. But that's just me wondering. That's me wondering. Excuse me, I'm not pretending to know. It's just, I notice it. I notice it more and more. And bananas, they used to feel, well, it was easy, wasn't it, to buy bananas, they'd last. You'd come home with them, but no longer. They just seem to change. I don't know, you put them in the fruit bowl and then the next day, they're gone. And they just don't last nowadays, whereas before, they did. See, I feel like I'm constantly checking all the time. I don't remember doing this before. And like I said, with the strawberries, you bring them home, they're great, and then, just don't get me started on this, it's an absolute bugbear. You buy a really nice punnet, you check it before it comes, and then you find a furry one, at the bottom, and before you know it, they've all gone furry. It can't be just me. And they're expensive. You know, you don't like to throw them away because they're really expensive. No, it's not cheap anymore to buy fruit. And I do like the fruit. I like to mix it with breakfast. And you don't want to just dump it in the bin. You know, I do buy, as I say, I buy a lot of fruit. I like strawberries, blueberries. Now, blueberries, they seem to last for me. They're not too bad. I do find I get more out of them. They survive and they look good. So yeah, I'm happy with that. But strawberries now, they feel much more unpredictable. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, unpredictable. What else can I think of at the minute? Oh, sad, isn't it? Me thinking about this. And salads. Well, salads, another thing. I never thought that I'd become emotional about salad and lettuce. That really is sad. But you know, here we are, and we buy this, and lettuce seems to last beautifully, but when you buy it in the packs, they seem to go off straight away. Also, I don't feel it's cost effective to buy the salad, the pre-chopped salad, the bagged salad. I just think it's cheaper and it lasts longer when you buy a lettuce and you chop it up yourself. It doesn't tend to go off overnight that way. So that's what I do now. It's funny how you think of these things, how to save money, because everything costs so much. You don't want to waste money. So you look at these things. I check lettuce carefully, very carefully before I buy it. Even if it's well in date, I'll check the bottom to make sure that's not going off colour. Yeah, it's sad in a way, isn't it, thinking about lettuce and salads. They used to survive so much longer. You know, I think I'm going to start growing my own. That's an idea. Then I know exactly what's gone in when I feed it, and hopefully it will last longer. But I think when we look at it, we're adapting to changing little habits. We're probably changing without even talking about it. I try different supermarkets for quality, and I have noticed a difference. Now, I feel Aldi and Lidl are still brilliant for certain things, and price-wise, it's the price that matters, isn't it? Especially now, especially in these times, more so than ever. We don't seem to have as much disposable income as we used to. But I honestly find Sainsbury's fruit, it often seems to last so much longer. For example, that was purchased before this. And that's frustrating, isn't it, in a way? Because you end up spending more money. It costs more. But when you weigh it up, well, I have to think to myself, because it's a constant challenge. Do I pay that little bit more and hopefully I'll get fruit that lasts longer, Or do I buy something cheaper and risk wasting it? Yeah. You know, you just get to find wherever you shop, have a look yourself and think. Because weirdly, when I buy the more expensive fruit, it does actually, it feels better. It feels better value because it lasts. So you're not wasting your money. And that's the strange part. And the one thing that I've found very surprising, well, I think it's good value lately, and that is the dates, the big boxes of dates in Sainsbury's. Now they last, and they're fresh, and they don't go off, and they're sweet and succulent, and they're filling as well. And it's ideal to add with some breakfast. And I've noticed they don't just suddenly collapse in a couple of days. No, they last. Yeah, they last. So I like to get those. So I notice the shelf life more now than I ever used to. I don't know if it's an age thing or whether you just want value for your money. I've also started buying a lot of frozen fruit. I find frozen fruit lasts, and to me it saves money as well. Yeah, I never thought I would, but I do like frozen because it feels practical. It's something that you use, and it's great. Well, I think it's good if you go to Iceland or sometimes in Asda when they do the 2-for-1 offers. It lasts longer. It lasts a lot longer than normal fruit, because fruit off the shelf just betrays you halfway through the week. You think, oh, I love that, and then you go downstairs and it's gone. It's gone. Even apples, you know, some of the apples seem to go off so quickly. But with the smoothies, with the frozen fruit, I can put it in smoothies, make smoothies. I can put it in porridge. I can use it in crumbles, desserts, or even with the yogurt. And I think that's what's changed the most. You know, we're all quietly adapting. We're changing how we shop. You know, how we store food. If you're like me, I have a lot of the same things, and I notice how the prices just go up and up. And we change things now without really talking about it. And I do feel that food shopping used to be really comfortable and it lasted the week, but now it doesn't. When I said certain things, for example, I like decaf tea, and I used to buy Aldi's Own. I'd say 6 years ago, Aldi's Own used to be 45p. Now it's £1.85. Same tea bag. What's changed? Packaging hasn't changed. Quantity hasn't changed. It's just how the cost of living. It's just shot straight up. I've also noticed that I tend to shop online more. Now, I know that was mainly introduced when we were in COVID and it was so much easier, wasn't it? Because we couldn't go out. But I know one thing, if I just go into a shop now, say I think, oh, I only need a loaf of bread, or I've run out of milk, I just need some milk. Somehow, we come back with a bag of shopping and it's 45 quid. And you think, what's this? What have I actually got for this money? And it's gone the next day. Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me. And you do, it makes you think, you think, what on earth have I actually got? You put it in the fridge and it's gone. What have I got? It gets you nothing whatsoever. So, that feeling, it happens so often now. That's why I've thought, shopping online, you can add everything to your basket. It slows me down a lot because you can see the total, how the total changes as you fill your basket. And then you can leave it for 5 or 10 minutes, hoping you don't lose your time slot. But in that space of time, you can go back and properly look at it. And usually when you go over it again, you think, I'll remove that because I've still got some of that left. Or I don't really need that. It's not dramatic what you do, but it's just little things. And you make a saving. Yeah. And you may go back and think, well, I can make do until next time. So that way you're limiting, but you know exactly what you're going to get. And it feels calmer, and it feels less anxious, less emotional. Less impulsive, because you go shopping and you think, oh, I'll put this in and that in. And so I genuinely think online shopping can help us to budget better. Yeah, a lot better now. And I think it does this because you can actually see this total, like I said. You add it to the basket, and then when it comes to checkout, it's not a shock, is it? Because when you're in the store and you put this in and you put that in, and you don't really feel, oh, what have I done, until checkout, and then it's too late to put it back, isn't it? And I noticed with Iceland, I used to love their vouchers. I still do love their vouchers because you get savings, but I know the savings are not as much as they used to be. So you can buy frozen food there and save money. You can buy in bulk. But like I said, the savings have reduced a little bit lately compared to before. But a saving's a saving, isn't it? And if you've got them and you use them, you feel good that you have made a saving in your shopping. And I think this is what's exhausting people now. In the past, shopping was something you didn't mind going out and do it, but it seems a massive dramatic thing. It really does. And it's hundreds of little pressures that you don't really need. I know, food, bills, replacing things around the house, wear and tear. You're just shopping more often. Things don't last like they used to. You know, trying not to waste money. Yeah, you could buy something 10, 15 years ago, especially clothes-wise. And they seem to last so much longer than now. You buy something cheap, we'll wash it, and you might as well throw it away because it's just no good. I feel that shopping used to be simpler, more enjoyable. Yeah, more enjoyable. Now it just feels like you have to think about every decision before you do it. And I also think that's why people feel emotionally drained. You know, by the time they come home, ordinary life sometimes just drains you completely. Because the little pressures, they never really stop. They always seem to be there. So tell me honestly, be honest, and comment below. Are you noticing the same things that I'm noticing? Which supermarkets do you think keep fruit best now? Or what supermarket do you think has the best fruit? What stops lasting? What goes off quickly for you? What have you quietly changed about the way that you shop? And also, do you find online shopping helps you to budget better than going into store? Because I genuinely feel like lots of us are adapting in little ways. We're changing our ways. And we're doing this without really talking about it. And sometimes we don't really know what we're doing. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for sitting with me today at the kitchen table. And I look forward to seeing you next time.